me great pleasure to introduce today's keynote speaker, Arash Ghazanfari, who is the CTO of Dell UK, who will be talking about securing the enterprise and minimizing risk in a multi-cloud world. Over to you, Arash.
Thank you very much, Matt. Really appreciate it. Just about to share the screen. Hopefully everyone can see the slide okay. Brilliant. So delighted to be with you all this morning. My name is Arash Ghazanfari, CTO in pre-sales for Dell Technologies in the United Kingdom. Here to discuss our approach to securing the enterprise and minimizing digital risk in a multi-cloud world, and how we can approach security in a way that we can transform it to become a catalyst for innovation rather than a barrier to change. Now, a little bit around Dell Technologies. So Dell Technologies is an ecosystem of strategically aligned businesses. Of course, Dell is part of that ecosystem, but we also have other businesses such as Dell EMC, VirtuStream, VMware, and SecureWorks. And together, we are very proud to basically take an optimistic view around technology as a power for human progress. And particularly this year, we have been helping our customers with the challenges that they've been experiencing around accelerating their digital transformation efforts. And we've been supporting them with our resilient supply chain, the broad ecosystem of partnerships that we have available to us, and inclusive consumption models, as most of our customers are starting to basically value liquidity over everything else. Now, onto the topic of security. The fundamental issue with security in the enterprise is complexity. And that complexity is driven by a very obviously buoyant, lots of innovators are in this market, but we also have a very fragmented and disjointed approach, which is really fueling a very disjointed investment methodology around security and creating a noisy environment where security controls are not working together, they're not learning from each other, and they're ultimately adversely impacting the security posture of the enterprise. And according to the Verizon Data Breach Investigation Report of 2020, a significant portion of the breaches occurred because the applications are fundamentally not secure. Typically, web applications are the point of entry for malware delivery. Around 43% of those incidents originate that way, which means that regardless of where your applications are deployed, you are going to have security challenges if they're not fundamentally secure. So moving to the cloud or staying on premises doesn't necessarily mean it's going to affect your security posture if your applications are not there. And of course, ransomware is a particular challenge in 2020, and lateral movement is a common characteristic for many of the advanced persistent threats that we are seeing out there. And of course, dwell time seems to be an issue still. Organizations are finding it very challenging to identify and detect cyber attacks and breaches quickly, often over 100 days, which is really not acceptable in the current environment. Now, what we believe is that traditionally, because the infrastructure and the applications have been fundamentally not very secure, organizations have had a reactive approach to investing in security controls, which really compounds the problem. That bolt-on disjointed approach really doesn't help with your overall long-term security strategy. And at Dell Technologies, we believe that that model needs to be turned on its head. Our security transformation efforts are validated by industry analysts such as Gartner, which believe that security controls need to be fundamentally built into the architecture to have that intrinsic security into the applications, into the infrastructure, and your endpoint is going to help you have a less reactive approach and a more proactive approach to security. And again, assist you in rationalizing your security controls and keeping your security investment under control so that you're always going to be in a situation where your infrastructure is inherently secure, and you can be in a situation where you're weaponizing the infrastructure against the bad actor, and you're intelligently approaching security in a holistic manner. So in order to build an intelligence-driven defense strategy, we really need to understand the anatomy of the attack. This is the cyber kill chain popularized by Lockheed Martin for the US Department of Defense. Yes, it is rather old and old-fashioned, and some people might think that it's a little bit dated, but from my perspective, it's really a very effective tool and vehicle for us to understand the journey that a threat actor takes from recon all the way to achieving their actions and objectives. And from our point of view, VMware, one of our strategically aligned businesses, published a white paper around some of the basic things that you can do to improve your cyber hygiene and slow down the progression of the attack and slow down that lateral movement in the enterprise. Give people and systems access to what they need to have access to through the least privilege approach. Micro-segment your environment as much as possible to reduce the blast radius of any issues that might occur in the enterprise and slow down the lateral movement of advanced persistent threats. Encrypt, but only encrypt where it makes sense to do so, because if you encrypt all of your data everywhere, it can actually adversely impact your regulatory obligations, particularly around GDPR. And wherever you've got human system interactions, introduce multi-factor authentication. That is an absolute must. And the last item says patching, but really what we are talking about is the automation of lifecycle management of hardware and software and applications. Many of the breaches are resulted because of poor patch and update hygiene in the environment. And understanding this whole attack structure will help us form a defensive strategy where we understand our enemy's methods. We understand and detect activities very quickly, preferably in a policy-driven and automated fashion. And of course, we disrupt the kill chain as early as possible, again, hopefully automatically and in a policy-driven manner. And most importantly, we have to prove to the business that we have eliminated the threat. So simply recovering from your backups isn't going to be sufficient if you have been subjected to a breach. You need to be able to intelligently prove that you have eliminated the threat, and most importantly, learn from the breach and get stronger with every attack. So that is why having a unified approach to security and a context-centric approach to security is really important. And the other aspect of the new normal is that we can't secure the future in the same way that we secure the past. Our applications are deployed on multiple cloud platforms. Our data distribution and data consumption models are highly distributed, driven by remote working. And so our security controls need to be built around our applications, which are ultimately delivering business value. So we need to understand what is actually happening at the endpoint, at the guest operating system that is hosting these applications, and have that contextual awareness. We need to create software-defined security methodologies that can scale horizontally with our applications, and they can be portable with the application, regardless of where the application resides. We need to have a clear view of what is actually happening within the network so that we can understand contextually the flow of data within the environment. And of course, we need to create a common policy language so that we can define what good looks like up and down the organization and apply those policies and allow our intelligent software-defined architectures to execute those policies in a declarative and automated manner. And finally, we need to operationalize our approach to security. Let me show you what I mean by that. So imagine a network administrator would define the networking constructs in software, and a security administrator will define what good looks like from an organizational perspective and in line with the organization's appetite towards risk. And an application architect would then inherit those networking and security policies and build that into the application blueprint, which will ultimately be published on a consumption fabric that is ready to be consumed by your line of business and other stakeholders, your cloud consumers effectively, repeatedly and consistently across multiple clouds and multiple platforms, whereby these application architectures are inherently secure and the security controls are intrinsically built into the application, and they will live and die with the application throughout its lifecycle. And the other aspect is adaptability. You need to be able to very quickly understand your threat landscape and your risk profile and all the dependencies within the organization and be able to make decisions very quickly. And that can only be achieved if you define your architecture in software, particularly from a networking point of view, and consistently deploy that capability throughout multiple platforms so that you've got visibility at the empowered edge, at your endpoints, within your distributed core in the data center, and of course, across multiple cloud platforms. And that deep level of insight is absolutely critical to achieving that adaptability that we need to have within our security transformation strategy. And of course, at Dell Technologies, we can help you deliver that. The other aspect is adopting next generation application architectures and adopting that platform level thinking. So cloud-based operating models and architectural fluidity is going to be critical in the new normal. So as we are moving towards infrastructure as code, adopting technologies such as Kubernetes and moving towards containerized applications, we can be in a position where we create a nightmare scenario for malware authors. We've got customers today who are destroying their production environments, one container and one virtual machine and one server at a time, and recreating them again without any downtime during production hours to basically not allow the malware author to build their command and control in their environment. Imagine you're doing this every few days. The maximum number of days that a malware author can dwell in the environment is essentially 24 to 48 hours. And we call this principle the rotate, repave, and repair principle, where you rotate your credentials within the architecture frequently. You repave your VMs and your containers to the latest stable state every couple of days, and you repair your environment by continuously patching the environment as you get common vulnerabilities and exploits and other threat intelligence fed into your organization. And again, we have helped our customers modernize their application architecture and be able to achieve this very effectively. The other aspect is resilience. So if everything fails, you need to be able to build a capability where you can create a minimum viable platform. And in order to achieve that, you need to have executive level buy-in and agile risk management methodology so that you can understand your risk and threat landscape very effectively. You need to be able to understand what is your critical assets that you need to absolutely protect in order to maintain a minimum viable platform in the event of a destructive attack. Align all your departments and your teams to understand that repeatable cyber recovery strategy and be able to work together to execute that. And the solution that we have in this area is our cyber recovery vault solution, which is a highly orchestrated, automated, and air-gapped vault that sits isolated from the rest of your environment. This shouldn't be confused with a disaster recovery capability, because we are assuming that if you're subjected to a destructive cyber attack, your DR and backup capabilities are no longer there. And of course, the recovery process will need to be done in a way that you, first of all, validate your existing digital assets so that you can make sure that there is no secondary payload in those assets before deploying them into production. This approach is something that has been adopted by Sheltered Harbor, which is a non-for-profit organization in the United States, an offshoot of FSISAC, designed to maintain the integrity of the US financial economy. And we are very proud to be part of that program. And of course, this is not a shrink wrap solution. It requires us to work with your leadership teams to understand your risk profile and deploy the solution appropriately. Now, to finish off, I'd like to briefly talk about the Dell Technologies cloud strategy. For us, we understand that our customers have a diverse set of workloads. This could be physical, this could be virtualized or containerized workloads deployed in a number of locations. And we believe that ultimately we can help our customers deliver infrastructure capabilities in a consistent fashion in software that allows our customers to take advantage of the fact that regardless of where these workloads are, they can automate, secure, operate, and protect them in a consistent fashion. And that consistent operating model will then allows our organizations to deliver value-added services consistently to their lines of businesses so that you don't have to worry about where these workloads reside, and you have that ability to deliver consistent value back to the business and always have an exit strategy regardless of what platform you buy into. You might want to transition from one cloud environment to another. You might want to repatriate some workloads on premises, or you might want to get out of the data center business altogether. This model will really help you. And of course, having a declarative, unified, and intrinsic approach to security is key to all of this, which is core and central to our technology delivery strategy. With that, I'd like to thank you for your time, and more than happy to take any questions if you have any time left. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much for that, Arash. Let's just have a look if we've got any questions. Yes, here's one. How can I stay secure whilst not adding to the complexity of managing a multi-cloud environment?
That's a great question, and the way that we achieve that is by staying in control of your data supply chain. And again, the only way that you can achieve that is by creating a consistent way of delivering infrastructure services and by removing architectural variability. And at Dell Technologies, and I'm more than happy to go offline and discuss this further with you, we've got the ability to create pre-validated architectures together with VMware and intrinsically building those security controls into the architecture itself, which will then allow you to be less reactive and more proactive around how you address your security challenges. And we've got partnerships with Google Cloud Platform, Microsoft Azure, and Amazon Web Services, as well as 4,500 other VMware-powered service providers. And we can help you achieve that workload portability without really worrying about architectural diversity and help you avoid talent and resource fragmentation, which is really key to maintaining that consistent security approach.
Okay, thanks for that. Let's just have a look. Okie dokes. Is there an easy way to keep track of what security is running across the different clouds when each vendor has different monitoring apps?
Well, there isn't
another
easy
good question.
there isn't a silver bullet, I'm afraid. But what is really consistent across the board is that cloud consumption is based on a shared responsibility model. And so cloud providers have done a fantastic job providing their own intrinsically secure cloud architectures. But whatever you run on top of that, whether you're using infrastructure as a service or platform as a service, the capabilities that you're delivering back to your business, securing those remains your responsibility. And where we come in is to help you have your own intrinsic secure technology delivery capability back to your business. But I'm afraid the answer to your question is there isn't an easy way. And I would worry less about their security controls and try and focus on what I'm delivering back to the business myself and trying to maintain consistency in the environment that I can control.
Yeah, okay, great answer there. Thank you for that. Time for one more. How do you think, and I know you've touched on this in your presentation, but how do you think home working has impacted security overall for multi-cloud environments?
So remote working has caused a lot of challenges for businesses, particularly businesses who are not used to creating an environment where their employees can create value no matter where they are. And it's more about culture than anything else, because now I have to have a professional mindset in my living room or in my home office and carry that mindset with me throughout the day. And of course, the way that data is currently being used and the way that data is currently distributed across various endpoints is really a huge challenge. And a lot of customers are now realizing that they need to invest in endpoint security and understanding the context of what is happening at the endpoint. So at the endpoint is where organizations are most exposed. The endpoint is where the attackers often get into the environment. And you really need to be able to audit what is happening at the endpoint and be able to categorize the level of risk around activities that are occurring at the endpoint and be able to act very quickly to that. And that, again, requires that broad level of visibility that I talked about during my presentation. And again, within the Dell Technologies ecosystem, we do have solutions that can help our customers with that.